let's just say this was a new winning ad that started getting a bunch of spend, okay? And then let's say it was getting a lot of spend for a week, but then because our creative team is the best, we found a new winning ad in ad number 2, storytelling variation 2. And let's say this ad all of a sudden started sucking up all of the spend. And so what will happen is, because this ad right here, which was our previous winner, is basically not as good as this one, at least that's what Facebook thinks for the time being, this ad will basically go from, let's say, getting $500 to, for some of our brands, $5,000 a day in spend, to basically getting like $200 a day in spend or $300 a day in spend, because this new ad is the new sheriff in town and it's sucking up all the spend. And now as a result, it ideally should be performing better, but we'll talk about that in a second, some of the scenarios that can happen. But what ends up happening is this ad stops getting budget. And what we've noticed is that the ROAS will get really inflated on this, because it went from getting like a few $1,000s a day in spend to now, again, a couple $100s a day in spend because we found a new winning ad. But we know that this ad can maintain scale. And so that is probably the only problem that we have identified with our 3-2-2 strategy, which is why we decided to implement the new ABO scaling campaign. And so what this allows us to do is that when we find a new winning ad, we will actually duplicate this ad into an existing campaign or into a new campaign, which is actually going to be our ABO campaign here. So let me just go ahead and find it. Perfect. So again, here you can see this is testing and scaling, but we would actually just call this now our scaling campaign. It still relatively is a testing and scaling as well, but inside of this campaign specifically, we will actually duplicate this into a new ad set, and we will just call this, winner ad number 1, or whatever winning ad it is. This is ad number 1, us versus them. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to duplicate this into a new campaign, right? And so here you can see we have this breakthrough ad, which I will talk about. And after 7 days of it running and hitting KPI and ideally scaling the ad account, again, we'll talk about all of the different things in a second, we are now going to duplicate this ad out of the CBO and put it into an ABO and try to scale it in its own environment. Now, if I've lost you, I'm going to bring this back. Most important thing that you need to understand is that we will not turn off the ad that was doing well in the CBO. So again, because this is all drafts, Meta is making this a bit of a mess, but inside of our 3-2-2 campaign, where this ad was originally launched, right? Here it is here. This is the winning ad. We will always leave this on inside of the 3-2-2 campaign. We will never turn it off as long as it's, continue to get performance. And if you need to watch another video around how to manage it, I have the why do bad ads get spend video. I've got so many videos now. It's kind of obnoxious, but what I'm going to talk about again in the FAQ section is a little bit more of ad management as well. But the main thing is we will not turn this off inside of the 3-2-2 campaign. All we're simply going to do is duplicate this into our ABO campaign. And inside of our ABO campaign, again, we will have our breakthrough ad here in its own ad set with its own budget. And now the rule of thumb that we follow is whatever you're spending per day in your CBO, you could essentially launch this in your ABO with, if you want to be safe, 10% of it. So for example, if in your CBO, you're spending $2,000 a day, and this is your winning ad that after 7 days is hitting KPI, it's getting a lot of spend, it's doing really well, well, then you can duplicate this into your ABO campaign and launch this with 10% of your total budget, which would be $200 a day. $200 of 2,000 is 10%. And the reason why we do this is because, again, you can always scale up, right? I don't want you guys to burn a bunch of money. If you want to be more aggressive, you can. But the point is now we're putting this in its own environment so that no matter what, even if we find a new winning ad in the 3-2-2 campaign, this ad will continue to get $200 a day in spend.